Shalom Chaverim, my name is Rabbi Yitzchak Shapira.
I'm Moreh Matan.
And welcome for this week, Peninei Torah, Pearls of the Torah, Unplugged Edition, coming to you live from India. Are you excited?
I'm very excited.
Listen, every time we open the Torah, it's exciting, but this week I wanted to do something different. I want us to truly look at the Parashat. We're finally getting to the life of Joseph, and this entire story of Joseph, you see the entire gospel in this passage. And this Torah portion this week, starting in chapter 37, verse 1. Now, we have to understand when we look at the Torah portion, 37:1, that it starts with the word Vayeshev. Vayeshev, it's the Torah portion. There is a concept in Judaism that the word yeshiva, Vayeshev, is something very negative. Okay? He's in a yeshiva, Vayeshev. What is he doing? He's studying Torah. Okay? And his father asked. But listen to how the Torah starts. Vayeshev Yaakov, and Jacob said, okay, Vayeshev Yaakov be'eretz megorei aviv be'eretz Canaan. Who is sitting there? Jacob is sitting there. He's finally back in the land. Now, why does the Torah does not tell us that he dwelled there, but literally the word yeshev means he sat there? There's something significant about this. When he says sitting is negative, everybody have to understand that it's saying it's very, very negative. The reason it's very negative is, again, if you go to last week's portion, and remember, he's fighting wrestling the angel. And then, if you don't mind, if you pick it for the students, we pick it in chapter 33 where they are meeting, right? They are finally reconciling, okay? If you don't mind to go to chapter 33, verse 10, start there, 33, 10.
Yet Yaakov said, "No, please, if I have found favor in your eyes, then you will take my offering from my hand. For this reason, I've seen your face. It is like seeing the face of God, and you've
Stop there. He's saying, I'm seeing the face of God in Esau. You know why? Because he fought the angel of Esau.
Right.
You follow what I'm saying? He already had this battle. He already won this battle. He can handle it now. Okay? Continue and see what happened.
Please take my blessing that was brought to you, because God has been gracious to me, and because I have everything." So he kept urging him until he accepted. Then he said, "Let's journey and be on our way, and I'll go ahead of you."
Here is the word that I want you to consider. What is the word to walk?
Halach.
Right, lech. The root here of the word lech, he is important because he does not say, so I will walk truly in front of you. This is not a good translation. Let's see what the Hebrew says. Vayomer nas'a v'nelcha. Nelcha is a corporal. Let us journey together.
Wow.
Okay? And ve'elcha lenegdecha, which is interesting. The word lenegdecha, the very first time that we see the word mentioned negdecha is with Adam and Eve. It says that Eve was created as a kenegdo, a helper against him. Wait, if she's a helper, how can she be against him? Because the idea is that Eve was created to make Adam better.
Yes.
So when it says here in the Torah portion, walk together against you, is that I can sharpen you, that I can make you better. The entire tikkun of Yaakov to Esau, Pastor Matt, again, we have to look at this in a prophetic lens, is not to come and just to rebuke Esau and say, I got the first birth, but it's to help to make Esau better.
Do you think that Esau has a responsibility to make Jacob better?
In this case, yes, because guess what? Because if Yaakov does his job, then Yaakov is also better.
Right.
That's the job of Yaakov. By Yaakov teaching Esau, had he said to him, come and become, you see here really a picture of the one new man. He said, come on, let's become one
But would you say
together.
if they don't become one together, then Jacob can't help Esau?
He can't
They have
help.
they
They
have to
have to
come
be
they have to
together.
be together in order
They
for it to
have to
happen.
be together because that is exactly what this Torah portion about this week. What's happened when they are not together is the result that Esau go down to the abyss. And here it's more shockingly, as in second, we'll look at the word of the Zohar, what it says when Yaakov does not have Esau by his side. It's one of those things, I can't live with him, I can't live without him, kind of those things,
Yeah.
But in reality, all of those things that have occurred in last week Torah portion is to prepare him for this meeting with Esau. Okay? And he says here again, and I will walk against him. He's challenging him. He said, let's work together. Okay? And continue in verse 13.
He continued, "My Lord knows that the children are tender and that the flocks and the cattle in my care are nursing, so that if they were pushed hard just one day, all of the flocks would die. Please let my Lord pass on ahead of your servant, and I'll move on further gradually at a pace suited to the livestock that are before me and at a pace suited to the children until I come to my Lord in Seir."
What do you think he's saying here, Matt? What do you think he's saying here? Let's go slowly. Isn't that really what he's saying here?
Yes,
Let's slow down. Who is saying let's slow down?
Jacob.
But it's interesting. Are you following this? I'm not sure because earlier before you can see in the Torah that they can move mighty fast.
Yes.
You following what I'm saying? They were moving. When he divided the camps, they were on the fly, Pastor Matt. They were going fast. He's saying let's go slow because it's a prophetic picture for Esau's benefit. He said to him, hey, let's take it easy in our relationship. Let's go slowly through this journey. Let's stop and have a cup of coffee. Let's talk to one another. We don't do that in the body of Messiah. If Yaakov represents Israel and Esau represents Edom, Christianity, then we say, oh no, it's my way or the highway.
Well, not just that, Rabbi. The biggest problem we see with Christians that come to a messianic understanding is they don't slow down. They want to go fast. They want to move ahead of the Jews and they go too
Isn't
fast.
that interesting? Remember, he's been away from the quote-unquote faith. You know
Right.
what the ultimate job of Yaakov is? To bring a tikkun to Esau. That is the ultimate calling of Yaakov in the end of his life. Okay? And look what it says. Continue. Verse 15.
Then Esau said, "Please let me leave with you some of the people who are with me." But he said, "What's this? Let me find favor in my Lord's eyes." So on that day, Esau returned on his way to Seir.
The rabbis of Israel said that this is one of the most tragic verses in the Torah. When it says, and notice again the language here, he went to his way. He went back to Seir.
Right.
The Seir is a negative thing. Is he reconciled with Esau, with Yaakov? The
Not truly.
reconciliation is not complete. Because the entire point of Yaakov is let's go slowly, but let's go up together. Let's go return together.
Right.
He didn't want to do that.
But it seems that when Jacob wants to slow down, and it comes as difficulty to Esau, he gives up.
He gives up.
And what's interesting, this is a direct contradiction to what happens with Avraham Avinu and Yitzchak, when the Torah says twice, and the two of them walked together.
Right.
Once before he realizes that he's going to be the sacrifice, and once after. When Isaac found out the truth that he was to be the sacrifice, he still walked on together in relationship with his father. But when times got tough for Esau, when Yaakov wanted to do something the proper way, slow, and it was too slow for Esau, so he gave up. I'm going to go my way, you go your way.
Exactly. He says, hey, I am past the Hebrew root. I'm past the messianic Judaism. I'm ready to go now to my own way. I'm going to become a super Jew in a way.
Right.
I'm reconciled. Let me go my way. I don't need you.
Right.
But here's the thing. Esau needs Yaakov.
Absolutely.
And he doesn't realize it because you see what's happened to Esau's descendant later on. They all become wicked later on. But here is the thing. So with this context of what we just read, we're starting the Torah portion this week. If you now turn to the beginning of the Torah portion this week.
Well, can I ask you a question about the next verse? Because Esau...
Hold on a second. Verse
17. So in verse 16, Esau returns to Seir, but Yaakov goes to Sukkot.
Right.
So doesn't Sukkot, the Feast of Sukkot, have a connotation of the ingathering? Let's be together. Let's dwell together in Sukkot.
Of course. Why is it? Because he's waiting for Esau to be ingathered.
But Esau is refusing to be ingathered. And what does it say?
That's powerful.
What does it say in Revelation? That we will be doing Sukkot together. We're waving the palm branches.
Right, Revelation 7.
So they are going to be, the nations, Edom, is going to be reconciled eventually, whether they want to be or not.
Yes.
But it's like that's the final tikkun of here. Esau did not want to be ingathered. He doesn't want to be there for this.
And that's delayed the Geulah.
Yes.
And actually, you're going to notice something. Why does Paul say that the key is with the Gentiles today? Because you're going to see in a second that all the calamities that are coming on Jacob now is coming because of the fact that the ingathering is not take place yet. So really right now, that's exactly where we are prophetically. The nations have to return to the Sukkah. They have to return to, in the Sukkah, you see the picture of this also in Genesis, of the tabernacle, the tent of Abraham. It's the same picture. Go ahead.
So Seir, isn't there, we've talked about this with regard to Esau, with Edom, isn't there a connotation of hairy?
Yeah, Seir means hairy.
And the reason that we have this connotation is because of how Yaakov masqueraded as Esau and made himself hairy, right?
But now he is the hairy.
But now he is. So it's almost like he's going back there. He's the one masquerading.
Yeah,
and don't we see that with the Hebrew roots movement today with the Gentiles? They're pretending to be something they're not.
But they're not. They cannot be because they're not walking with Jacob. And that is the message that I want to bring to our students and those who are watching. One who is not walking with Jacob, who is Israel. He's creating something else. It is a spirit of Edom. It's a spirit of Seir.
Edom, it's counterfeit. It's false.
It's a counterfeit.
Right.
And that's exactly what is happening here in the text. They are going completely, he's going to completely away. Now, Yaakov continued the journey. But here is what I want everybody to understand. Jacob's journey becoming much more complicated. And the question is, because of whom? Is it because of Jacob or because of Esau? And you know what, Pastor Matt? The answer is going to shock you. The rabbi said it's because of Jacob.
Wow.
Not because of Esau. When he did not come to the Sukkah, Chazal said that he needed to go back to Seir and bring him.
To go back and get him from where he was.
Yes.
So are you saying that it is the Jews' responsibility to go where Edom is and bring them back?
Absolutely.
Wow.
And matter of fact...
Isn't that what you're doing here in India? You've come to Seir and you're bringing the people back.
And take it away. Take it one step forward. When Yom Kippur come, we read the prayer that says, Messiah, righteousness is turned away from us. And we read Isaiah 53. And then we say, let us bring him back from Seir.
Wow.
Yeah. That's the way the prayer ends. Let us restore him from Seir. So
let's bring Messiah back from Seir.
Because so when we bring the Christians, we bring in the Messiah.
Yes.
Are you following
because
what I'm saying?
Because that's where he's been for 2,000 years.
Exactly.
So we got to bring Messiah back to Israel.
Exactly.
That's awesome.
So when we bring the Goyim, the nations, Goyim is not a bad word, by the way, the nations back to Israel, to the house of Israel, then guess what? But here's the problem. If they think that they are in the house of Israel and they walk without Jacob, they are like, have you ever been in one of those places like, they have them in Florida, the Holy Land experience? You walk in, I'm going to call this year the Holy Land experience. This is a good title for this year.
Yeah.
You walk in there and they have the replicas and the gold and the menorah. And it takes just 2 minutes for a Jew to say, hey, wait, this is a counterfeit, man.
Right.
This is not real.
It's like dress up. It's like putting on the hair.
And that is exactly why he went to Seir. He's going to the Holy Land, Edom, but it is not the real place.
Wow.
And the real job of the Jew, we came under so much question and criticism. Why did you have to bring in the Gentile? Well, you have to bring in the Gentile because that's where God is building his home in Zion.
Wow.
So you want to know what's the problem here in this Torah portion? Vayeshev, very negative Torah portion. And that is the context of Genesis 37:1, when it says, and Vayeshev Yaakov be'eretz megorei aviv be'eretz Canaan. And Jacob sat in the land of his fathers, okay? In the land of Canaan. Chazal says this. Stop. The word Vayeshev is a negative word.
Wow.
He sat down and he himself resolved to the fact that he will never be able to be with his brother. Have you ever had a brother that he's a work for the faith and you said, hey, that's where it's at. It's going to change. I gave up on this years ago.
Wow.
So after all the preparation that he had, the fight with the battle, all of those things, guess what? The battle never took place.
So are you saying
the battle never took place?
Are you saying that if we're like him, that we can get prepared for the battle and God can invest in us all the preparation,
sure,
but then we can waste it?
The battle was not there in the Torah when he meet him and they just kissing and they start to walk together. The battle did not really take place because the battle was the battle to say, come win in with me. And that's where Jacob missed the battle. And people are missing the battle sometimes.
Right. So do you mean that sometimes it will be a fight, like people are worth fighting for, like saying, no, you need to come with me. Come. Do you think he should have drug Esau?
What? Let me tell you how many people in my ministry that I can look at and I say, I should have fought for them. I should have fought for them. And if you are, as a minister, sometimes we need to learn to choose our battles. But in this case, the battle for a Jew to go to the Christian and bring, this is the ultimate battle of the Jew. Mm-hmm. There's no other greater battle than to bring it. Do you feel right now we're in a spiritual battle?
Yeah.
We have been here in a spiritual battle, and the battle should not be to go and condemn Esau. The battle should be to bring Esau, not to condemn Christianity, but to bring them in.
Well, and I know this from personal experience because that's what you did with me.
Yeah.
There was a time that I was out of the yeshiva and we were not in a good
part in our relationship. This.
And you pulled me back in and
I pulled you in.
You fought for me.
But Esau also had to make a choice.
Yeah.
So it's not so simple as saying that Jacob have to do it. Esau also have to do it.
Well, and he's got to humble himself to be willing to be brought.
But you know what? Chazal said, it's Jacob's fault.
Wow.
Isn't it interesting that they do not put the blame on the nation?
Well, but I'll tell you why I agree with that, Rabbi. Because if it's the job of the Jew in the world to be a light to the nations, and Jacob was not a light to his brother, then it's like the responsibility falls on his head, on Jacob's head.
So
he's got to go rectify that.
So look at this. Jacob's sons are in a mess. Why aren't they in a mess? Chazal said because he didn't reconcile with Esau.
So they are reaping the bad result of what their father did.
Think about what I am telling you. I can say it as a Jew and not saying somebody accusing of anti-Semitism. Why Jews suffer for 2,000 years? Because they did not reconcile with Christians.
Sure. Wow.
Why did Jews suffer Holocaust and this and that? It's because we did not reconcile with our ultimate brother.
Wow.
Which is Messiah himself. Why Jews suffer? Because we did not reconcile with him.
Wow.
It sounds anti-Semitic, but I want you to consider this. It says, let's go to the text for one more minute. You see how much there is here? It says here in the text, let's go to chapter 37, verse 2. It says in the Hebrew,
37:2.
37, yeah, I think so. Yeah. Vayavo Yosef et dibatam ra'a el avim. He brought the evils, the word about them. right? The negative word about them, something like this.
Is this 37, you said?
Yeah, 37:2.
These are the genealogies of Jacob.
Continue.
When
Yeah.
Joseph was 17 years old, he was a youth, but he was shepherding the flocks with his brothers, with the sons of his father's wives, Bilhah and Zilpah. And Joseph brought back a bad
Here
report
you
to them
go.
about their father.
What was the bad report? Chazal explained to us, we find this, that it says that they were eating live animal parts. They were like cannibals, taking live, dipping in blood, eating this like animals while looking at the women's. Can you imagine this?
This was prohibited. This is part of the Sheva Mitzvah.
How did they are not even keeping Sheva Mitzvot.
Wow.
And
So,
how?
oh, wow. So you know what that means, Rabbi? They're being worse than Gentiles there. Because those laws were
They are
universal.
being animals. They are being animals.
Wow.
And why are they being animals? Because Jacob gave up on Esau. This is what Chazal is teaching
So do you
us.
mean to tell me that even today, my actions as a father are going to affect my children?
No doubt. No
where
doubt.
The sins of the
No
father,
doubt.
third and fourth generation, all that stuff.
No doubt, no doubt. But you see, God have a plan of redemption here in the next verse, what he says, and Israel loved Yosef, Mikol Banav, right? And Israel, notice now he's not called Jacob. He's
Wow.
called Israel. Do you notice that his name changes? He's first called Jacob, right?
Right.
Look at
Verse
this.
2.
And Jacob, when he's sinning and he's not doing what he's supposed to do. Now we think about this, Matt. You think about it, say, oh, he loves his one kid more than others. That's a recipe for a disaster. But that's a mistake. That's when he's called Israel, actually.
Wow.
Have you noticed about this? Why? Because if you take this expression in Israel love his son Joseph from all other, it's an acronym for the word Ahav, love, et Yosef Mikol Banav. If you take this, you get Aleph from Edom, Yod for Greece, Yavan, Mem for Persia,
Wow.
Mem for Mitzrayim, Egypt, and B for Babel. All the exiles of Israel.
Wow. Wow.
So
wow.
he messed up. Jacob messed up. Israel messed up. God is going to send a deliverer
Wow.
to break through this. And who is the deliverer? Joseph.
Joseph himself.
Who is
Wow.
Joseph is for? Joseph is the person who came to fix the family, to correct the family,
Wow.
to fix Yaakov from the inside out, to fix the house of... You see, all of these plans is coming for bringing salvation to the house of Jacob.
Wow.
Isn't it amazing? Now, Israel messed up. Yaakov messed up, he stumbled. But even the stumbling is to deal with the deeper root, which is something that was wrong in Jacob. You following what I'm saying?
Yeah. So I have a question for you about this. You know, how
This is
Chazal
amazing.
say that the sitting was negative.
Very negative.
So
Then he set up and gave up on his brother. That's the implication.
right. But so I want to ask you a question about, so this word Vayeshev, you know, it's related to the word yeshiva. You know,
Yeah.
we study in a yeshiva.
Yeah.
You have
Be
told
careful.
us so many times that if all we do, you know, yeshiva comes the word shiva, to sit. You have told us so many times, if all we do is sit and learn, but we don't go out and do
Here is the
something.
difference between us and Yeshivat Shuvu and Kosher Pastor and Ahavat Ammi than others. You know, there are so many people who just produce teaching after teaching. Some people have huge followers. But you know what? They're truly just a yeshiva.
Well, that's what I mean. If you're just
They're
sitting
just
and
sitting.
studying
They're
all the
just
time
sitting.
and not doing anything.
I don't. There are teachers that I would say they're better teachers than me. They're more eloquent. They know more. Okay, praise God. But you know what's different between us and other people is we're actually doers.
Well,
we're
you've-
much more focusing.
You've told
on-
us from the beginning, this is not about information; it's about transformation.
And that's why
if you're
we're
not
producing.
acting on what you know, then it's not worth anything.
Look, we just celebrated releasing our 1100th lesson publicly.
Wow.
1100 Torah lessons.
Wow.
That's a lot of lessons to put on to people. My desire that somebody will watch one of my lessons, and I hope you have the same desire with Kosher Pastor and life being transformed. And how amazing it was for you this weekend to see how lives are being changed.
Yes, and
This is
people are
not just a
doing-
dot on a screen.
People are doing stuff; they're not just sitting and learning.
Isn't that amazing? So
You know, I have to say that this is something that I tell pastors, it's very easy for us, and I had to tell a young man at the conference, it's very easy for us to sit in our offices with all of our books and just learn. And it's fun. It's enjoyable to us. I had to tell a young man, I had to rebuke him with love to say, if all you do 24/7 is just sit and learn and learn and learn, it reminds us of our brothers in Israel in the ultra-Orthodox neighborhoods where all they do is just study all day.
Wow,
But what are they doing?
And then Messianic look at those Orthodox and say, that's the model. Let me tell you, it's not the model. They sit on their butt, the majority of them, get funding from the government, hate the state of Israel, they don't contribute to society.
When the Torah says, if you don't work, you don't eat.
Yeah.
You know, so I love the fact that we have the opportunity to do things with our hands, and I know that learning is so enjoyable. In fact, Rabbi, I'll go a step further. At least for me in my life, learning can be almost addictive.
It is.
I love learning. I crave it.
I know.
But there's
you
a
come
time,
to my library, you see the books.
I know. It's a time for learning, though, and there's a time for flying across the world to India.
And that's, by the way, why we're so thankful you're supporting this work. I love to teach. But look, I have been in 52 countries in the last 7 years.
Wow.
That's a lot of countries to visit.
That's one for every Torah portion.
Yeah, there you go. Now, pay attention to something interesting. It says, in Israel loved Joseph with all of his sons. Mm-hmm. Now, this is very interesting, right? Now you see his name is Israel. It says that his face, when you look at Joseph, you saw Yaakov. Their face, their physical face was identical.
This is what Chazal says about Abraham and Yitzhak.
Yes, but who was Joseph's face resemble? Not just Yaakov, Adam.
Wow.
Adam, David, Messiah is the picture of Messiah. Mm-hmm. He is a messianic figure. Yaakov knew that he's messed up. Yaakov knew that there's a problem in his family. And Yaakov understood that Joseph is the future Messiah of the family. That's why he says later on in chapter 41, he says, and he saw that there was a breach in Egypt. He didn't say he heard, he saw. He knew that the Messiah is Joseph for the entire family.
Well, and Joseph, there's an unbreakable connection from Joseph all the way back to Adam with the garment that Israel gives him. Because if you remember
the garment, right?
Yeah, what Chazal say is that when Jacob when Isaac smelled Esau, it said it smelled like the field.
And that's the garment of Adam.
It smelled like Gan Eden. It smelled like the Garden of Eden because it was the garment of Adam that he stole when he killed Nimrod, who had stolen that garment. So the garment comes to them to Esau, and then from there it goes to Jacob, and then out of that same material he makes this coat.
So check this out. So this name, and Abraham and Jacob love Joseph, you have all the exiles in this name.
Right.
And it's a clue. Who is the one who will break it? Joseph, the Messiah. More Matan, let me conclude with a shock for everybody.
I love a shock.
You love shock?
I do.
Here's a shock. Now we understand why he's given a garment of pasim. By the way, the word pasim in Hebrew, let me connect the dot for you, is related to the word pass.
Okay.
What is pass in Gematria? The end. Acharit hayamim.
The end.
The end. Ha-ket is pasim. Pasim come from the Hebrew word piyusim. Reconciliation. What God planned here? You want to know God planned redemption? To bring reconciliation to the family. What is the redemption about? Bringing reconciliation to the house of Jacob.
Wow. So what you're saying is the garment comes from the same word that means
the same garment that brought all the divisions.
Right. Wow.
The word garment in Hebrew means reconciliation.
Wow. And the end.
And the end. Yeah. But you have to go to fight.
And don't you have a teaching, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but don't you have a teaching that we could make a midrashic comparison to the colorful striped garment of Yosef to Mashiach?
Of course.
Because of his back being striped.
Of course. Of course.
So all that, so just from this Torah portion, we can see that reconciliation is going to happen from this garment, which reminds us of the wounds of the Messiah.
Yaakov It starts with Yaakov doing what it's supposed to do.
It's his responsibility.
And also relying on Joseph. We need both of them. We need Joseph,
Wow.
but he needs to do his part. We cannot just look at Messiah and say, Messiah, fix it all for us. He needs Joseph.
And
We need Joseph.
if Messiah is a picture of Joseph, this proves to us that dual covenant theology is wrong, that says that Jews don't need the Messiah. Because you're saying that Joseph is a key component to this whole reconciliation and the end and everything.
Yes. As a matter of fact, though, look at this.
So would you go so far as to say, Rabbi, is that without Joseph, without the Messiah, this reconciliation is impossible?
Without Joseph, the reconciliation is impossible, and without Jacob, the reconciliation is impossible. If you look, who is the one who pulling the string throughout the story? Who is the one who's sending them to Egypt? Jacob.
Wow.
He says to them, go get food from Egypt. But in Hebrew it says, no, I see there is brokenness in Egypt. That's what the Hebrew says.
Wow.
Jacob is an integral part, although he's far away. The Jewish people are today far away from Mashiach, but they're still pushing the strings. Are you following what I'm saying?
Right. Well, the brothers too. The brothers sent Joseph to Egypt, and he says later on, you thought you were doing me harm, but God meant this for good, for the saving of many lives.
Yep, in their life. It's the reconciliation of the family.
Wow.
Now, I'm coming to the bomb. Look with me in verse 4. Let's read together.
37?
Yeah.
37 verse 4.
Yeah, 37:4.
When his brothers saw that their father loved him more than all the brothers, they hated him and could not speak to him in shalom.
What does that mean, Pastor Matt? And they could not speak to him to shalom. That's the question you must ask yourself. What does that mean?
They don't want to reconcile either. They
The
can't.
law, I want you to understand the depth of the dysfunctionality of all humanity. The dysfunctionality is great. Now listen to what it says. All of the exile of Egypt, I'm quoting from the Chida, this is from the Zohar, all the exile of Egypt is because the selling of Joseph. The root of the things started when they could not reconcile.
Wow.
Later on, their hate became greater, and they sold their own flesh and blood to the Ishmaelites, who they put him down to Egypt. Midah for midah, a weight for a weight. Therefore, Israel, have to go down later to Egypt.
Wow.
Because of the selling of Joseph, okay? And because of that, they have become slaves to the Egyptian, okay? And this is why we say every year we are enslaved, but now we are free. In the Zohar Hadash, in the new Zohar, it explained that the exile of Egypt was for the selling of Joseph. And from that, all of the exiles of Israel up to the exile of Edom is stemmed from because they have sinned against Joseph the righteous.
But the exile of Edom is the last exile, right?
It's
So included in that,
It's including this.
but including that is the Holocaust. So are you saying that even all these exiles, including the exile of Edom, the exile of Rome,
Is all stemmed.
it's all because they sold Joseph?
Yep. Exactly.
As a Jew,
I don't say.
as a Jew, you are saying that even the Holocaust is because they sold Joseph.
I'm not saying it. Chazal is saying it.
Wow.
Yes. But again, what is the role? You cannot just blame it.
Right.
Blame it on the Jewish people. What is the role here of the brothers in this thing? Yaakov messed up. But the brothers also have a big thing.
Yeah,
part
because
to take.
they hated him and they
I
couldn't
wanted
speak
to
to him in
understand.
shalom.
I wanted to understand it. The reason they sold him, okay, that's the Gentile responsibility,
Right.
is because Jacob messed up. So what the Holocaust happened with? Not because the Jews, because the Jews and the Gentiles.
Right.
If Yaakov would have done what he was supposed to do, and then the brothers would have been in order,
Right.
which is the nations. Who are we to blame? We are to blame both.
Blame each other. Because if the brothers would have done the reconciliation, if the Gentiles would have stepped in, then the Holocaust might not have
You
happened.
know why the Gentiles in the mess today? Because Yaakov has been sitting down for 2,000 years and not teaching them Torah and not bringing them in.
Wow.
The
He's
problem-
been Yaakov has been studying for the last 2,000 years, but not going out and teaching. Just like what we said before, we can't just sit and learn and
Chazal
gobble
actually,
up.
the Midrash says he's sitting in his Bet Midrash. He have a synagogue,
Wow.
but he have a sign, not open to Esau. In essence, that's what it is, because he never went and brought him. The problem starts with Jacob. Friends, if you want to know what I personally believe, the nations are in a mess today, but the problem does not start with them. The problem starts with us as Jews. What God called us to do, to take the mandate of Avraham Avinu, and as they journey, as he journey, bring people into the tent.
Wow.
That's where it's starting. And when a Jew just does what he's supposed to do in the world, then the world around us is rectified.
Wow.
So Yaakov did not do it. Then the brothers sold. And who is the one that took the blame for it? Who was the one that was penalized for it? Jacob. Jacob suffered until the last days of his life. And guess what? He reconciled again. And that's the Geulah. That's the final redemption. That's what we're looking for. So I'm suffering today, Matt, because of your people.
It's true.
But you're suffering too. You don't know it. You're suffering because my people.
Right.
We both are suffering. And what is the answer? The answer is with Israel. First, recognize we need Yosef. The only one who can fix it is Yosef.
And what does Rav Shaul say? That we have been given the ministry of reconciliation. The brothers have got to come back together.
I think that's why this is working.
Absolutely.
Because there's great ministry of reconciliation.
You don't know this, Rabbi, I haven't told you yet, but at the conference, I've had several people come up to me and say how blessed they are at viewing our relationship and the way that we teach and travel together and things, to see a Jew and a Gentile together.
I think that's the power of this reconciliation.
Yeah.
Because guess what? We reconcile ourselves to Yosef, to the Messiah, and also reconcile ourselves to Jacob.
Yeah.
I'm representing Jacob, you're representing Esau.
Right.
And we're both first reconciling ourselves to the Messiah.